sometimes when things are moving along, he loses interest. And that sometimes has to do with pressure from me. He does not like being told what to do or being directed. It could be a combo of a couple of things. Number one, his drive to take direction from a handler, his drive to bring the stock to a handler and do something productive with them may not be very high. We could try to build that up. Of course, what we're going to do to build that up is kind of allow him to do what I've been doing, harass stock, basically have a really, really good time, and not focus on being perfect and not focus on him giving a lot. So me putting myself in the right places to try to facilitate correct stock handling from him. So as soon as the stock kind of get further away from me, I lose a little bit of that ability, because if I put pressure on him, he'll usually fade out. So trying to get the stock, that's why I'm working goats and just a couple of goats today. Number one, to keep his spray drive high, is like using me to get out of doing what he wants, what I want him to do. So like if I ask him, if I say, good dog, I just want him to stand right there. He can take the praise and deal with it. He's getting a lot better doing that. But you saw at least once in the video where I was trying to get him on the goats and he came into me. Well, if he's coming to me, in no way are my animals ever going to come to me, because they're going to try to get away from him. So he's not hurting at that point, and that's why he's in trouble for that. And I am getting kind of hard on him about it at this point. He is, I would say, a soft dog, as in just a little bit of pressure hurts his feelings, but he doesn't exactly yet know how to get what he wants out of that instead of the sulking, which I think the leaning, the mushy behavior, that to me is sulking for a dog. They want something, so they're just going to melt until you give it to them. And usually you give it to them by leaving them alone, which is what they wanted, and letting them do what they wanted to do, which is harass animals. So unfortunately, I am using that a little bit, ignoring him when he gets a little sulky, going to my animals, and then usually kind of pulling at one or making one make a noise, and that gets his interest back up. I don't like to do that for very long because it can become a pattern, and the dog starts to just sulk in order to get what they want. So when I put pressure on him, I want him to move away from me. I want him to do it with a good attitude, but if his attitude is not good right now, I'm fine with it. I just need him to move away from me. He's, like I said, he's getting a lot better at it, so his attitude, his eyes are nice and soft, ears are back, tail's wagging a little bit, so he's in a better space as far as that goes for now. Wayne. And then when I do call him into me, I don't want him to jump on me. So if you see me kind of like raise my hands or whatever, I'm just trying to remove what he wants, which is to be petted. So I will pet on him. I like for the dog's head to be up and look for them looking for my attention. It took quite a bit of work for me to get him to give me attention. He looks in your general direction, but not at you, and there is a difference. Okay, so I like especially when I'm calling them to me, when I'm asking them to do something, and even when I'm scolding them. If I scold him, I will give him the answer as far as what it is he got in trouble about. I'm going to help him be right, and I'm going to stop him from being wrong. So if I scold him, good boy. I want him to stop what he's doing and look me in the face for answers. We fade out a little bit of that looking the further along we get with a dog, because if they're way far out away from us and you scold them, you just want them to check up and maybe take another command or take a whistle. So you don't necessarily need them to stop and look you directly in the face. But what you do need the dog to do is to change their mind about what they were doing and acknowledge what you're about to ask them to do. So at this point, if I ask him to acknowledge me with a scolding, I do want him to look at me clean. And then I can give him the answer. So I didn't want him just sniffing on me. That I can correct him for anything I want to correct him for, okay? So he doesn't have to know why. He doesn't have to understand why necessarily. This is really, it's just trying to get him on my page, on the same page as me, and functioning on a level where I believe we are a team. And he has to be part of a team in order to work stock with me. And so that's why when he gets his little feelings hurt, I do not want him to come to me and grovel. That's not the answer. That will never be the answer, because the answer is to bring me livestock, and I will help him, show him, guide him on how to do that. But in order for me to be able to guide him, he needs to be able to be ready to take my direction. And so that's kind of what it's like, developing a language with your dog. And for me, the scolding is just information. And if the dog will respond appropriately to the way that I scold them, I can give them the information to be right, and I will help them, and then they will always be right. So they're not looking at it as a punishment necessarily. I don't have a better word for it other than scolding. I wish I did. But it's just information. Wayne.